Is 14-legged killer squid found 2 miles beneath Antarctica being weaponized by Putin? A killer giant squid that can hypnotize its prey and paralyze humans at a distance of 150 feet using poisonous venom is being developed as a secret weapon by Vladimir Putin, a scientist has claimed. Dr. Anton Podolka said he was part of a Russian scientific expedition to a subterranean lake in the Arctic that discovered the terrifying creature, known as Organism 46b. He said their discovery at Lake Vostok was covered up by Russian officials who are now looking at ways to weaponize and breed the deadly octopus, with potentially devastating effects. Dr. Podolka said the octopus, which was discovered in a freshwater lake trapped beneath 2 miles of ice, possessed an array of weapons and was responsible for the deaths of at least 2 of his scientific colleagues on the expedition. He said, "We encountered Organism 46b on our first day. It disabled our radio, which we later learned, to our alarm, was intentional. It is also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend was killed this way." He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. "We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off its head, then popped its remains in its mouth. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically." The 33-foot-long man-eater also boasts extraordinary camouflage that helped it stalk the researchers, including shape-shifting. Dr. Podolka said, "The shape-shifting capabilities of Organism 46b sound almost diabolical. It shaped itself into the form of a human diver. We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientist has realized what it was, it had grabbed him and torn him to bits." He revealed the octopus could also use its tentacles to kill, even after they had been hacked off its body. Dr. Podolka claimed another of his colleagues were killed by a tentacle many hours after slicing it off with an axe. He said, later that night it slithered across the ice bank and strangled her. After 5 days battling the animal, the remaining scientists finally trapped Organism 46b in a tank. They brought it to the surface but were shocked when it was seized by Russian officials, who told the waiting international press nothing had been found. Dr. Podolka fled the country and raised the alarm this week after he claimed to have discovered Mr. Putin's plans to use the animal as a military weapon. He warned these plans, and any possible plans to breed more of the creatures, could prove devastating. He said, "Some species of octopus lay 200,000 eggs. Imagine if they were deposited in reservoirs and lakes across North America."
Russian scientists in Antarctica battle Organism 46b, an Antarctic creature called the Lake Vostok octopus. Organism 46b hunts by first paralyzing its prey with venom. The strange creature seizes and dismembers prey using a powerful beak, breaking the food source into pieces. The ancients believed in monsters of the deep, serpents hiding under the waves, threatening to capsize the heavy crawling ships of men. Today there is no ocean or lake that has not been probed and found wanting for sea monsters. Except for the freshwater lakes buried beneath the ice of Antarctica. There is a hidden continent under the ice cap of Antarctica. Ground-penetrating radar established the existence of hundreds of lakes on this continent. Because of pressure exerted by the ice, these lakes are not frozen. They are liquid, containing fresh water that has been isolated for at least 15 million years. The largest of these is Lake Vostok, covered by a glacier 2 miles thick. On top of the ice sits the Russian Vostok Research Station. It took 10 years for the Soviets to drill a vertical tunnel in the ice in which a special elevator was built, designed to hold a single man. In 2012 the elliptical drill bit finally reached, down the eastern shore of the lake. A team of 8 men was lowered to the original surface of the continent, 1 man at a time. What followed was a closely guarded state secret, until a Russian scientist defected to the West. Dr. Anton Podolka was a member of the Soviet research team. He became a defector after learning his government had military plans for a discovery made in Antarctica. Granted sanctuary in Switzerland, Dr. Padalka disclosed the existence of a life form native to Lake Vostok, a strange and lethal creature designated I swam through swarms of Antarctic toothfish, which swam neither at the bottom nor at the surface. In my travels, I met a humpback whale and her young calf, and I met a shark deterred by my suit and oxygen tank. Yet, there was something rather odd happening. My stomach sank as I recorded my odyssey in my journal, when the boat began to rock. Odd, the water was as still as glass just a minute ago. It would pass, I convinced myself, with a sudden rush of terror. I began to grow rather suspicious when the waves got larger and the rocking became more intense. I stood and put my journal on the seat. I paced slowly to the starboard side and peeked over the side to see nothing but a deep blue. My heart slowed. I sat back down as the water calmed, only for it to rise back up with an intensity that brought water into the boat. My ears picked up the small breeze flowing through the air. My head snapped to find nothing there but a fly, or a fuzz in my vision. "Jim?" I asked as I stumbled toward my brother's quarters, my voice shaking with anticipation. No reply. I called his name again, a bit louder, and got no response in return. My skin grew warm and I turned the knob slowly, opening the door to the normal quarters with a still helm, and my brother was nowhere to be found. I scuttled back in a mixture of disgust, alarm, and devastating sadness. "Jim?" I called as loud as I could, tears welling up in my eyes and the back of my throat. We had one set of gear. He couldn't have dived. He wouldn't have swam. He knows of sharks. So where was he? I paced to the port side and once again peered over. A pink, Slimy tentacle inched up the side of the boat, growing thicker as it creeped up the hull. A second one joined it to the left, then the right. Its head-sized cups were lined in rotating teeth as sharp as blades and as large as my hand. Shadows crawled and surrounded me, slime and brine dripping onto my skin. A suction cup grasped my back, the teeth sinking into my flesh and releasing hot, stinging liquid into my tissue. I attempted to scream, but nothing moved. Paralyzing venom. I could only watch through fading vision, the gargantuan octopus I've heard so much about. And I could still only watch, as I neared its beak, and heard a crack as my bones broke under its strength. I woke up later that day, unable to move, only left to my senses. Luckily I was saved by a group from the Russian Vostok research station. For what felt like weeks, I was questioned and watched. My Russian wasn't very good, but you do pick up a little from time to time. I overheard talks of giant octopus named Organism 46b. The researchers had been studying this creature for many years, and have decided to use it to make weapons. My understanding, they plan to turn the venom into a gas. This could be the one of the worst chemical weapons to inflict pain on mankind. H.P. Lovecraft was right. There are horrors under the waves. Stay paranoid, my friends.
And everybody has probably heard the story. If you haven't, it's Organism 46b is a large octopus like the mimic octopus that changes shape and color and is even said to can mimic human beings. Now this little pamphlet here that I'm sure you're having difficulty reading says that this place was built in 1957 by the Soviet Union, and it's been for ice core drilling and magnetometry, and it was named after the captain of the ship. Now, the reason I'm revisiting this place is because I went and checked it out when I got Google Earth Pro running again, and well, the buildings are hard to see. I used to get just crystal clear pictures, and they went and kind of smudged them out, I guess, and they threw in some 3D pictures that you can click and pull up. So we're going to take a look around that, and don't forget, if you like this video, then hit that thumbs up, subscribe, share it to your social media networks. I only have a Facebook, I don't have a Twitter or a Snapchat or anything, so I really appreciate everybody that joins and everybody that shares. If you even just view it, I appreciate it. Now on to Lake Vostok. This is the actual camp where Organism 46b were found. Now since the last time I've come, they've added these 3D buildings, and there's one that looks like it has a Doppler radar type thing. There's a lot of these that you can see at different stations. We're going to see those in some other videos. Now these other ones, these are storage facilities. These, CGI obviously, but it's the type of buildings you would store food or medicine or equipment. Now these CGIs, when you take them away, you still see the shadow on the ground. See that long shadow? So there are actually tall towers there, but when you take the CGI away, you can't see them. Anyway, this is very, very far out, as they said, and they have the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth at negative 89.2 degrees Celsius. That is flipping cold. As you see, even with the CGI graphics, you see the long shadows coming off of where the actual big stacks. This would be their living quarters, and you can see the dark shadows. Those are probably, I don't know, 10, 20 story tall buildings. I can't quite make out what this is, but it has the color of a container, a food containment facility, with it being red, but it seems to have some kind of cage around it. This may very well be the cap over the hole for the well. And if you notice around, there's different places that have shadows coming off of them, so you know there's buildings there. You see the shadows, you see what looks like rocks, but other than the CGI, they've made it pretty much hard to see. And this is the location, this is the actual place where the drilling happened, where the octopus was reported, and Russian scientists flew back to America, told everybody about it, said it was super poisonous, and that Vladimir Putin was going to make a weapon out of it. I don't know, I like the guy. I don't think he's the villain everybody makes him out to be. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe, and please share it with your friends. And either way it goes, thanks for the view. I hope y'all have a great day.
In Antarctica, there is a Russian research station called Vostok Station. Founded in 1967 by the Soviet Union, the station conducts research such as ice core drilling and is famous for having recorded the lowest natural temperature on Earth, minus 59.2 degrees Celsius. In other words, really damn cold. Now jump forward to the year 1974, when it was discovered that the station sat atop a vast subglacial lake located under 2 miles of ice, which was named Vostok Lake after the station. The scientists began drilling down to reach the lake, but would not reach it until 30 years later, on February the 5th, 2012. From here we follow the point of view of a Russian scientist named Dr. Anton Padalka, who came forward in 2016 after the incident involving Organism 46b, to tell the world what he and his friends endured. Padalka claims that he and his team were attacked and several of them killed by an enormous and deadly creature who lived in the lake. According to Padalka, the creature was like that of an octopus, only much larger, around 33 feet. Aside from its impressive size, the creature also had other traits which set it apart from its cousins. For one, it demonstrated high intelligence, evidenced when it deliberately disabled the team's radio so they could not call for help. A member of Padalka's team was swiftly killed when the organism released its venom into the water, which paralyzed him, allowing the organism to easily kill and devour him. Padalka writes, "He tread water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off his head and then popped his remains into its mouth. It was as if it had hypnotized him telepathically. The organism still had a couple tricks up its sleeve, demonstrated later when it transformed into the form of a scuba diver, tricking Padalka's colleague into approaching him, which resulted in his being torn to pieces before their very eyes." As Padalka and the other survivors fled, a female member of the team managed to lop off one of the organism's tentacles with a sharp object, only for that same limb to later return and strangle her to death. This organism's supposed abilities get more outlandish by the minute, from telepathy to paralyzing its victims to shapeshifting to tentacles that have a mind of their own. The question has to be asked, is there anything this creature cannot do? After several days of terror, Padalka and the other survivors managed to trap the organism in a tank and brought it to the surface, where it was seized by Russian officials for an unknown reason. In the following days, the Russian government denied having found anything irregular, and Padalka and his team were ordered not to speak about their experience. But Padalka could not keep silent about what he had witnessed, and took his story to the press after fleeing from government officials to Switzerland. It is the belief of Padalka that the Russian government intends to harness the incredible powers of the organism for their own interest, possibly biological warfare. And should that ever come to fruition, who knows what terror might be unleashed upon the earth.